All right, we're gonna get going here. Welcome everybody to the 13th Family Conference for Dup15q syndrome, Dup15q Alliance. First, I just want to say thank you for everyone coming. We know it is not easy. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming here. We know again that it is not easy to travel here. You're taking time out of your summers, and again, it was just fun scrolling through Facebook and seeing all of the different ways you guys were all coming here. Got me pumped up for it. For those of you that do not know me, I think I know most. I'm Mike Porath. I joined as executive director earlier this year, although I've been part of the community for a very long time. So I have a daughter named Annabelle who is 18 years old with Dup15q syndrome. And then we have 3 younger boys as well who are 16, 13, and 5. My family, my wife and kids are back in Los Angeles right now. But they're here, in spirit. The parade got me again fired up for all of this. So we have a vision at Dup15q Alliance, and that vision is we want to create a world where every individual with Dup15q syndrome can thrive, with access to the best care, the right treatments, and a community that supports them every step of the way. And over the next couple days, we're going to talk about how we build that community, how we build that, that vision for our loved ones. We're going to talk about how we do that in big ways, and we're going to talk about how you can help. That we're going to try to help you build that that life and that support system for your own, son, daughter, or loved one here. 16 years ago, I attended my first conference, which happened to be in Indianapolis. I was a lot more overwhelmed back then when I showed up. We had only met one other family with a child with Dup15q syndrome. My daughter was 2 at the time. And, that parade now, which, I love, was a little scary for me the first time I saw it. A lot has changed between 16 years ago and now in terms of what we're doing as the Alliance. We've had that same vision, but we're much closer to, I think, achieving that. So a few different things that are different. The science has really evolved. And back then we were talking about trying to understand the genetics behind our children. Now we're talking about, how we can help change those to really give them a more independent life and all that. You're going to hear a lot more of that from Dylan, our science director, and others here speaking about it. We have done a really good job. Back then, we did not have the funds to be able to invest in science and research and trying to develop a treatment for kids with Dup15q syndrome. Since that, we've made a number of, our fundraising has grown, and we've invested a fair amount of that into science and research. And one of the things I'm most proud of what the Alliance has done is for every dollar that we've invested, we talk about a donation, but it's really an investment in what we're trying to achieve for our kids. For every dollar, we've gotten a 10x return on that, meaning for every dollar we've put into funding a dream grant or anything that we put into, there's been $10 of follow-on funding, whether that's from the NIH or other grants. And so we've done a great job of picking the right people, the right partners, the right projects to get us to a point where, again, we're working our butts off to try to develop a treatment to help our kids. And so, we've done a great job on that. We have a science director, for our first full-time science director, who I'll introduce in a moment, who has an amazing story that's brought him, into the Alliance and in his position today. So he's waking up every morning, working with our researchers, our doctors, our clinics, our pharmaceutical partners, the biotechs we're working with, to really help, help your kids. And we have partnerships out the wazoo at this point. I think, yesterday, I don't know if you guys are aware of on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we had a science conference here. We had 140 scientists here for both Angelman syndrome and Dup15q syndrome that was moderated by Dylan. And it, just thinking about all the different projects, collaborating, asking questions, talking at lunch, going out to bars, all of these folks here to work on Dup15q syndrome. 16 years ago, I don't think we had a science conference at all when I was in Indianapolis. So that has, dramatically changed. And our fundraising, again, the more we see what's possible, we need to raise the funds so that we can help go out and achieve that, whether it's ourselves, whether it's the partners that we work with. And last year we reached $1 million for the first time ever. And this year we got our first $1 million individual donation into the Alliance because they see what we're doing. They want to be a part of it. They want to help us achieve our goals. They want to help your kids. So round of applause for all of you that have been involved with that. Two last things I wanted to say. Number one is I'm constantly reminded when I show up for these. These are amazing events. Again, I've been to every one since my daughter was diagnosed. That really this is about the people. These conferences. You come to a conference. Hopefully you leave with a community and you feel like you're a part of it. We had a meet and greet yesterday. We talked a little bit more about that. But I hope that each of you are able to leave, when you leave here on hopefully Saturday, that you're leaving with, you're feeling energized, you're feeling empowered, you're feeling like you have a lot more knowledge about Dup15q syndrome. You have also some thoughts maybe on the role that you can play and your family can play. Because in order to do all of this research, our kids are a big part of those research projects, right? So I hope that you can all walk away with that and really, more than anything, feeling connected. This has been a second family, for me. The people here have, here and a number of others over the years have helped me, I kind of feel like, stretch as a human being, both on, I've seen people become so strong and so resilient, and I've pulled from that. And then on the other side, just the empathy that you guys all have in this room, the vulnerability that we bring to events like this. It's made me, I think, a better human being, being a part of this community. And I hope that you feel like that when you depart as well. So then the last thing I want to say is I want to thank the people who put this together. This is not the work of a few staff members. Our staff certainly contributed to it, but where are Ann and Sherry, if they could stand up? These are our conference chairs, both board members. There's Sherry over there. And where's Ann? I don't see her. Ann's probably doing some work in the background out there. The amount of phone calls and Zooms and text messages, the amount of work that they did. And then there's, they have an enormous conference committee behind them. Anyone that's been part of the conference committee that's donated their time and energy to pulling this event off, please stand up. We want to acknowledge you as well. All right, and with that, I want to introduce Dylan Ritter. I want to tell his story because it's so good, but I think I should let him do it. So Dylan, here you go.
Thank you, Mike, for the introduction, and thank you all for coming here and giving us an opportunity to talk about some of the amazing things that we're doing here at the Alliance. My name is Dylan Ritter. Hopefully you've seen me in your emails with a newsletter. Sometimes maybe you've seen me on The Big Give. Hopefully you've seen my face, but now I get to see you in person, actually talk to you. But I'm the new Director of Scientific and Clinical Initiatives for the Dup15q Alliance. It's a long title, but what it means is if there's something science going on with the Alliance, I'm trying to work on that and have some sort of hand in that. I want to make the point that, being the first full-time science director has a lot of responsibility. It's an honor to be kind of representing the Alliance in that front, but there's a huge team that I work with as well that helps make all the work possible. So I'll spare you some of the science stuff because after the keynote I'll get a little more nitty-gritty, but I'll tell you a little bit about my story. So I'm a sibling to someone with Dup15q. A lot of people in the room are parents, but I'm here to represent the siblings, which are a strong and mighty group. So my brother Travis is 27. He lives in Jersey with my parents right now, and he was diagnosed when I was 4 years old. So for as long as I can remember, my family has been part of the Dup15q community, and watching how the Alliance has grown from when he was diagnosed in the 90s up until now, the change couldn't be greater in a positive way for everything from the advocacy to the support to the scientific side as well. I want to take a moment now to talk to the siblings in the room or to the parents who have kids that are not affected by Dup15q, and you're considering the siblings. Siblings are a really powerful group of people, and you guys are changing in ways that you cannot even recognize at this point. I didn't realize it when I was growing up, but I knew that my life looked different than the life of a lot of my friends. And at some times I wasn't sure what that meant, but I realized that my friends had a lot of love and understanding, and even the people that I knew grew so much from understanding my perspective and meeting my brother and understanding how our family dynamic might have been a little different than the average household. So I want you to know that in this room, you're surrounded by people who are going through similar experiences, and it's okay to share that. And as a sibling sometimes, I can speak from experience, you know that your parents are going through a lot, and you see your sibling is going through a lot, and sometimes it's hard to talk about that. So I know that there's an amazing program, the Super Duper Siblings. I want to give a shout out to that because it gives siblings an opportunity to speak up and open up about some of the things that they talk about in a community of people that understand. So I just want to give a hand to the Super Duper Siblings program and anyone who's working on that. And I want to make my last plug on the science side. If there are any siblings who are interested in science, I want to share my story about how I got to where I am and how I used my development as a kid to ultimately pursue science in a real way and contribute so meaningfully in a way that I never thought I'd be able to. I got to my position through a lot of luck and people who helped me out, and I'm here to look out for all the siblings who are in the room or at home to help them use their potential to impact Dup15q in an amazing way so that when they get to my spot in 20 years, they can be on the stage, they can be contributing to the alliance, they can be in the labs or the clinics, and they can be making really meaningful change for Dup15q syndrome. So that's what I'm here to do, and I hope you find the opportunity to talk to me and connect me with some of the siblings. But at this point, I want to take the opportunity to introduce Sarah, who is our board chair. It's her second conference, so she went from conference new time attendee to now leading the board at the Dup15q Alliance, which is a testament to all the hard work that she's done. So I'll talk to you guys in just a little bit, but I want to turn this over to Sarah. So thank you very much.
It's just an incredible two people. I'm going to be leaning down a lot. I'm very tall, if you hadn't noticed. It's just really, really humbling to get to listen to longtime veterans like Mike and new but not new entrants into our team like Dylan. It's a really moving thing. I just want to say how grateful I am to be here with everybody in this room. It is only my second time, but still to see so many familiar faces from that first conference, it's still pretty fresh in my mind, so it sits with me what it was like to be sitting in that chair for the first time. I'm still just also so overcome with gratitude for how meaningful a lot of our families have made their journey, whether they were brand new, like the last time I was here, and I see so many people like, Devin standing up here. It was her first conference last time too. Sherry standing there as part of the conference. I mean, I think she's been part of our community since the last conference. This is also her first conference, which is kind of incredible to contemplate. It's a group of superhumans that I'm really, really proud to be a part of. And really, really grateful to be able to see that parade and to be reminded in that moment of who we're fighting for and what we do this work for. Like Dylan said, Sarah Thacker, I serve as the chair of the board. Just quickly, if you're on the board, could you stand briefly? All right. All right. There are more than three of us, I promise. We're out and about and running behind the scenes. Part of why I want to point these people out, so if you see in the front table here, Dr. Shefali Jesti leading the SOAR study, as many of us, I think we have 40 people who are signed up so far for this week. As you are trying to navigate to that place. It can be a little difficult to find. So if you need some support, look for anybody who has a dark bar on their name tag, because that's going to be staff or board chair, and we will help you find your way there. I've been in this role, like Dylan said, just since January, and just been really inspired by the community, by the clinicians and the scientists who are working on behalf of our kids, like Mike said, but also the parents. Our theme this year is Power of Parents. And to really sit with that, I would encourage all of you to do that as we go into each of these sessions, because it's not just in what we do, it's also in who we are: advocates, community researchers, fundraisers, and sometimes we're just simply working on holding it together during some especially difficult times. And that ability to rely on each other is just so incredibly important. Like Mike said, when we've had these past couple of years of just incredible momentum that's come through the fundraising efforts of so many people in this room. We've had 2 galas in Philadelphia run by Jackie Vanderhoof, who, if you have not met her, she's both our director of our science chair, and also she is just an incredible force of nature. So those galas bringing together clinicians in the room and families to just really further our mission with science. And we've also had so many Believe walks that have been popping up all over the country. I think, what was it, like 10 last year, maybe something like that. And hosted by not just parents, but siblings and friends and scientists, again, who are partnering with us in this mission. It's just a testament to the growing reach and impact of our mission. I want to acknowledge that we've had challenges. We've lost members of this community, cherished members of this community. We have seen our children struggle daily, and we've struggled right alongside them. We're watching a lot of our scientists struggle right now with scientific funding from federal level, with uncertainty. So it hasn't been without its share of difficulty, but through that, still, we do find ourselves in this really exciting space as an organization with all this momentum. And so what does that mean for the board, right? So for the board, what that means is there's just a continuous evolution in how we show up in the conversations we're having. Even, the meeting that we had earlier this week, it's a completely different type of conversation than we were having a year ago. We're kind of going to bed thinking about UBE3A and waking up thinking about ASO therapeutics, and those words might not mean anything right now, but they will by the end of this week. And it's really humbling to get to be a part of that. Part of that evolution is we are assessing our strength as a board. Do we have the right perspectives to be able to take care of the growing complexity of the needs of our organization? So we're thinking all the time about what voices do we have, not just lived experience for people who are parenting or a sibling or an aunt or uncle going through this, but also do we have the right financial expertise on the board? Do we have some of the emerging needs that we're going to have are like biotech voices or clinical support, legal insights, as we think through these partnerships that we're so privileged to be able to enter into. So a lot of our accountability then becomes in making sure that we're representing you to the best of our ability. Because again, like that power of parents, I just want to stress it's not just emotional, it's structural and it's strategic. And so we always take into our time together as a board our responsibility to this group of people and to these children that we take care of every day. So as we look ahead and we ride that momentum, I just want to leave maybe a quiet invitation with all of you as family members and supporters. I want to think about what does that ability to show up look like. It doesn't always, I think, as a parent, maybe it's a little hypocritical for me to say this standing as board chair, but we can put a lot of pressure on ourselves for how do we show up and how do we support our kids. And it doesn't have to be an enormous grand gesture. You don't have to be $1 million donor. You don't have to be a board member. Maybe it looks like spreading your story to a new family who's sitting in this room and is nervous about their experience. Maybe it looks like speaking to a researcher that you meet this week about your story. It might mean signing up for a study like SOAR with Dr. Jesty and using your information to support our cause. It might mean looking through your contacts and your network of humans as we think about who do we need on our committees and on our board to make sure that we're bringing those disparate voices into our space to represent our families. I I'll close briefly just by saying that over the next few days, I think, as Mike talked about for the agenda that we're putting together, you're going to hear from a lot of our best and brightest minds and our fiercest advocates, and you're going to be laughing together, and you might be crying some too, and that's okay. This space is here for all of that, and would encourage you to just remember that at any point, getting up, walking out of a session, totally fine. My child has already done that. I was going to introduce you to my duper, but within 30 seconds of being here, his shoes were off and he was screaming for goldfish. So you just need to take care of your own priorities and whatever that looks like. But I just want you to know that no matter what, behind the scenes, your board is working for you, and that we're here because of you. And just grateful for the trust and the responsibility that you place in us. So with that, I will turn it back to Mike, who's going to introduce our keynote.
One final note before the introduction, and many of you know this, a lot of those researchers that were part of the science symposium that we had earlier this week are staying through the family conference, and you're going to see them on panels. These are, our experts. They're going to be giving talks. They're going to be attending sessions. I really encourage you to talk with them. They are here to answer your questions. They're here to meet with you and all that. So if you see someone and they say some insightful thing and you've got a question about your own experience or, your own child, you might have to stand in line afterwards, but really reach out to them. They are here for you. This is a great moment for you to get all kinds of, again, questions answered, knowledge, all of those things. So take advantage of all of the experts that are here, not just the parent experts, but also our clinicians, our researchers, and the folks here.